class 12 economics. Yes, economics. So far, I don't know what you have studied in economics, but we are going to start afresh. Okay, economics is not a new term or not a new subject for you. Yes, of course, you would have studied economics since your 9th standard, and in class 11, you would have studied economics in a more detailed way. Here, in class 12, what are we going to study? We are going to go deeper into economics. First of all, what is economics? Economics is an activity which relates with the proper allocation and utilization of resources. Whatever resources are available within our society, within our country, how to use them properly, how to allocate them to the needed people, how to produce and consumption, everything comes with economics. Even we have studied in business studies that even business is an economic activity, something that relates with money and sale, exchange, production, everything comes as economics. What are we going to do in this year in class 12 is we are going to try to understand about two bigger concepts of economics which are called as microeconomics and macroeconomics. Now we know micro means what? Small. Microorganisms, micro means small. It doesn't mean that the economics is going to be small. It means we are going to see economics in a narrower prospect. That is how it concerns with an individual or one particular company or one small society is going to come as microeconomics to you. Whereas when we deal with macroeconomics, it sees the economics as a whole. It sees production as a whole. What is the total aggregate value of a product? What is the charges or what is the total cost of production all over the society? That is going to be in macroeconomics. So, initially we have to study microeconomics. We should understand how it handles or how it concerns with an individual or a small level of company. Right? First of all, how or why do we need economics? To study about the production, consumption, sale of goods, exchange, allocation of resources and proper utilization. Now, when we talk about goods and services, these are one important term that we are going to use again and again. Actually, there are two terms, right? Goods and services, but maximum time we are going to use them together. Okay? Goods and services. This is chapter 1 of Introductory Microeconomics, which is introduction. Okay, introduction to what? Introduction to microeconomics. Now, goods and services means goods here means products, end products, finished products, whereas services are the things that are considered not to be in physical status. Services like a doctor, what he does cannot be measured or seen. It's a service he provides. A teacher, a lawyer, professions. Okay, and in same way, when you talk about tertiary industries, you talk about the services that they provide as auxiliaries. You remember auxiliaries? So what happens here? The services that help, they are not physical in terms, but of course they are going to be needed, like communication, transportation, and all those are services. Now, why do we need to know about goods and services? Because every one of us will need something. We all have something also. There is a difference between need and want. First, we need to understand the meaning of need and want. Okay. Now, need. Why am I stressing this? Because you are going to talk about needs again and again and again in this entire subject, needs of people. So that is why we are going to see in detail about need and want. For example, you are very thirsty. Okay, you want to drink something, drink water. So basic thing is quenching your thirst. You want water. It's a need. But I have cold or I have cough. So wherever I go, I need only hot water is my wants. Something more than that. That is, without want I can survive. But without need I Okay, that is the difference between need and want. It comes in everything. You all need a home to live. We all need a home to live. But when I have an option like I want to have a double bedroom flat or I wanted to live in a villa, that is a want. There even we say want. Okay, when someone asks for your wish, you say I want to become. It's your want. It's not your need. But what are your needs? Basically, people say that your basic necessities are food, water, or clothing and shelter. These three or four only comes under needs. But did we leave it to that level? No. As we became civilized, as we learned a lot of things, as we expanded our tentacles like an octopus, we and our needs also expanded. We need a lot of things now, right? So how can we procure or how can we utilize or how can we get these needs? How can we satisfy these needs is what all about economics. Okay? For example, now each one of us will have something. We naturally have something. What are the things? A farmer basically has the land, agricultural land. Okay, a farmer will have agricultural land. Then if you talk about a manufacturer, okay, he will have the machinery. Okay, this manufacturer can be anyone. When you talk about weavers, they are also manufacturers. They have their own machinery and they have their own mechanism. And then we have a teacher or a doctor or a lawyer who gives their services. Okay? They have their skills. Right, fine. A farmer has a land. Okay? He produces. What does he do after production? He eats it. Fine. Again, what does he do? He just exchanges it or gets something out of it, some money out of it. Again produces, again consumes, again eats. Is that all? No. Is it enough if a farmer has only land? Avukku land mattumda irukku. Avukku agriculture mattumda theriyum. Agriculture mattum vechu survive panna mudiyuma? No. He might need the help of a manufacturer. For in case if you are talking about a weaver, we need cloth. Even a farmer needs clothing. Right, so he or she is dependent on him. And when you take in case of a weaver, you need I can produce cloth. So I will produce cloth and I will live only with cloths. No, he or she needs food. So depends on the farmer. Then okay, farmer helps the manufacturer or the weaver and the weaver helps the farmer. Done. No, they need to be educated, or when they are not feeling well, they need a doctor. Right? The services provided by a doctor are required. Okay, a doctor knows what medicine he or she should give for each and everything. With that alone, can he or she live? No, he would need food, he would need clothing. So in this case, everybody has some resource. What do we call it here? We call it as a resource. These goods and services we mentioned, right? All these are sort of resources. Okay? And what do we do with that? Can I alone use that particular resource? And can I live without the other resources? No. I need to give this resource to someone who needs. As well, I need to intake or procure the resources that I need. So what can a manufacturer, a farmer do? He can produce, take up what he or she wants, then exchange or sell the remaining. Right? Same way comes with a weaver. So a weaver, what he or she does? He produces cloth or he makes it, and then after his personal usage or her personal usage, sells the remaining surplus. Then talking about a doctor, he has studied, of course, but of course he is going to sell his service or provide a service to someone. Right? So each one of us are interdependent, and of course it's a mixture of everything. It's not that I can live with only one resource. I have to depend on other resources. As well, I have to give my resources, I have to share my resources to another person also. Okay, that is basically about a simple economy. What is it? A simple economy is where people have their own resources, they can use it for their own purpose, and of course they will be giving it to another person and acquire another resource. It's not that whatever I have, I only will have. It is whatever I have, I share it with others. At the same time, I cannot live with only my own resources. என்கிட்ட இருக்கிறத வச்சுக்கிட்டு மட்டும் என்னால் இருக்க முடியாது. I cannot survive. Okay, I need something else also. Okay, if we are the producers of rice, can the people of Tamil Nadu live only with rice? No, we need some other resources also. Right, a farmer, an agriculturist who has paddy in his field, produces rice. Can he have the entire production of rice within himself? He has produced some 2000 bags of rice. Is he going to procure or is he going to consume all the 2000 bags of rice? No. And can he live only with the rice? Rice mattume saapittu you need vegetables, you need some pulses. So what happens there? There happens some kind of exchange. It can be monetary or non-monetary also. Non-monetary, how? Barter system. You remember barter system? Where we simply exchange goods for goods, services for services. In olden days, when we have a medical health assistant or a medical person, he or she, when he comes and gives you their service, instead of giving money, they used to give something for some vegetables, something that was grown in their own farm. That is barter system. A service also can be exchanged for a good. So you can exchange good for good, service for service, and good as well as service. How can we exchange service and service? Okay, good and service we can understand. Goods and goods we can understand. Service into service, how? A doctor offers service. Similarly, a teacher also offers service. So a doctor can tend or take care of this teacher's needs, medical needs, whereas a teacher can educate, okay, use his or her skills to educate the son or daughter of the doctor. So exchange of services is also possible, right? So what it is mainly about, the economy states that we all have resources and we need to allocate them properly. That is what is more and more important. It is not that everybody can survive or live with only what he or she has. We will need something more too. Okay, I have a well. There's water in it. My water problem is solved. I don't have to depend anybody else for water. That all? No, something happens to the water in the well, or I need to fetch the water. I need to have a motor there. So what do? I take the help of someone else. It's a service. Okay, mostly it's a paid service. I take the help of a mechanic or a plumber, whoever is needed there. I use their service to use my own thing. And can I have the water myself? I might have to share it with someone else also. Clear? So what is a simple economy all about? We all have resources. Every individual has some sort of resources or has some kind of production in goods and services. When we talk about products or production, it needs both goods as well as services. Services here are the skills and talents that one possesses. Okay, we have whatever we have. Okay, that is what is important. And everybody cannot produce only the same thing. In a society, I am a producer of say I'm a producer of watermelon. Okay, I'm a producer of watermelon. Is it like I have 10 acres of land? Can I produce 10 acres of land also with watermelon? Can I have only watermelon in my fields? Not all the time, because there are only 100 families in my village. Means I cannot sell my product. This will be surplus. Okay, they are eating only 2 acres of land of watermelon is sufficient. Remaining I have to send to someone else. It is possible, but still there are some difficulties. So what can I do? Instead of having all the 10 acres of land for only watermelon, I can think and decide 5 acres for this and 5 acres for that. So you need to plan where even what you are doing, allocating your resources and proper utilization of resources. I have a land means I have to utilize it properly. 5 acres only I am using right now. 5 acres let them be means it's waste of the resource, because by the time you can sow something else in the field and you can get some output out of that. Clear? So economy is very much difficult to understand when you compare it with a society. Society is simple, but when you compare the economy of it, it differs. Society is constituted of people, so we know different kinds of people. But here it talks about identifying their needs. Okay, identifying the needs, allocating of resources, utilization of the goods and services, everything comes under economics and a simple economy. So we are going to discuss the important concepts or the basic concepts through which we will understand what is microeconomics. Why do we need microeconomics? And all those things we will be discussing further. Okay? What are we going to discuss next? We are going to discuss the central problems of an economy, because when you have a problem only, you can find a solution. Microeconomics becomes a solution of some problem. So in order to evaluate the solution, first you need a problem, right? If you have maths problems, you need to know the problem first, the question first, then only you can work out the solution. Similarly, what are the problems of an economy? Why do we need it, or how to sort it out using microeconomics is what we are going to study. So what are we going to do first? We are going to discuss the central problems of an economy. Right. The topic is central problems of an economy. Right. First, what do we mean by economic activities? The production, exchange and consumption of goods and services are basic economic activities. What are the basic economic activities? Production, okay, then exchange, then finally consumption. Consumption means what? Using it. Okay, you buy a new dress, okay, and keep it in the bureau means it's the purpose of buying is not complete. Only when you consume it, the production gets complete, the process gets complete. So it is essential to discuss about consumption also. Okay, so what are the basic economic activities? Production, exchange and consumption. When we talk about goods and services, there is one more important term that we need to understand, that is called as scarcity. Scarcity means very limited or sometimes not enough. Okay, when we say like in summer we have a scarcity for water, means what? The water content we have in our society is very limited, or it's not enough for the entire society. Same way only, the resources are also scarce. It's not that everything is abundant. We know in petrol wells or the fuel that was produced by Saudi and all is becoming less, it's diminishing. Why is the rate of petrol getting increased? Because we don't have enough resources to procure more and more. That is why it is increasing. Okay, so same way only everything happens. When you don't have enough of something, the price of it increases. Clear? Sometimes the rate of onions and all will be very costly. Why? Enough is not there. It is very demanding. So that only we mean it by scarce resources. Scarcity means what? That every society has to face scarcity for each and every resource. It is not abundant. Even water, we have to use it. Why do we say save water nowadays? It is just because it is becoming a scarce resource. It's not that the Mother Earth cannot be giving more and more and more water for you. You have to use it properly, appropriately. Okay, so when you are, that's why in advertisements we see that when you wash your face or when you are applying soap, you can close the tap. Why? Because we are saving water. It's not that you just leave it open and you carry on with your brushing or your washing your face activity, because that is a scarce resource. Similarly, everything becomes scarce. Is it like the resources, like the skills of people, services? Are they even like very easy to get? No, they are even scarce. You need transportation. Is it like every minute you get a bus to somewhere you want to go? No, they are also scarce. You need to utilize them at times. Okay, at times and properly. When the crowd of the bus is less, when only 4 people are traveling in a bus, what do? They'll wait for some more people to get in, or they will stop the service for the bus to a particular route. It has happened. When people reach a place or use the bus facility very minimal, they'll stop the bus facility. Why? The resources are scarce. That is why we need to allocate the resources properly. In a society, when people are there are both services, autos as well as share autos are available. So when you see people opt more of share autos, means the availability of share autos should be made more. Then even autos are more, means what, people will not be able to afford it. They will not be able to choose it. So based on their choice, you have to provide the resources. But is it available or is it possible every time? Due to fashion trend or something, everyone wants to eat only diet food, or they are just intaking herbal products, means that much production is there? No, then the scarcity begins. It differs, of course it differs. The scarcity for each and every product differs. That and all we will be discussing later in the chapter. But what is the major problem is that every resource is scarce. We need to understand that the society has to face scarcity of every resource, not only one resource, every resource, and that we have to be very careful in the utilization of these resources based on the choice that we have, based on the people choice. Alright, now we are going to discuss what are the central problems of an economy. The 3 important questions, if we can answer these important questions, then of course we will be able to ascertain what are the central problems of an economy. What might it be? The first question is, what is produced? It's a simple question for you to understand what is produced and then what quantities. What does your society need? Society here might be a small society or a big society. Okay, the group of people, any group of people is called a society. Student community, we say, that itself becomes a society. So what would be the need of a student society or a student community? Stationaries, books, uniforms, good services like schools and colleges. These will be the needs. Right? So what is produced? Even goods and services are also produced. Okay? What is produced in the society? You have to decide. The economy or the society should decide what should be produced in the society and in what quantities it should be produced. Okay? For example, in this city, you need more of colleges or you need more of schools. You need which department to be higher? Science stream or arts stream? What is the need of that particular society? What is required and how much we have to produce? That is very, very important for us to know. Okay, in a wheat eating community you are in a meat eating society, you cannot you cannot produce less wheat. You need to produce more. And if it is surplus, you need to give it to someone. You need to exchange. And you cannot survive only with wheat. Right? There are different things that you need. So, according to that, the resources will be allocated. Say machinery or transportation facility. Based on the needs and based on how much, based on the production, the resources will be allocated. Okay, let it be agricultural products, let it be industrial products, let it be service related products or services itself. It differs based on what the resources will be allocated. Based on the answer to this question, it differs from society to society. What is produced in the society and in what quantities it should be produced. Next, how are the goods produced? Okay. How are the goods produced? How are the goods produced means the production process. What are the things we need? Machinery. Do we need any machinery? Do we need any technological support? If you take fish farming, what are the things that you need? You have decided what to produce. You are going to fish farm. You are going to produce more of fish. Okay, and in what quantities you have to produce. And then how are the goods produced means you have to set up a farm for it. You have to create the likely atmosphere for it. Okay, how are you going to do this? Are you going to do any mechanism or are you going to follow any particular technology? Okay, any innovation that you have to do there, and all these things you have to discuss, because each and every product and each and every service is produced in a different way. Just the way I teach business studies is different from the way I teach economics, so that even the production process differs. Clear? Maths teachers, they will use more of problems, more of sums. But English teachers will use more of language. They will take more of grammatical things and they will discuss lots of quotes. But do you think a maths teacher will discuss quotes with you? No. So even in the services, you have to decide how are the goods produced, how is it presented. In terms of scale, how is it presented? When you talk about goods, the methodology of production, the production process, the machineries to be used, the skills required for the production, everything plays a very important role. The technologies to be used for that particular production even comes under how the goods produced. Technologies, what technologies? When you produce ice cream, you need that freezing machines. That is a technology. Clear? And then we are going to discuss for whom are these goods produced. For whom are these goods produced? That is which kind of society. We already discussed to whom we are producing based on that. Like that, to who are going to be the end users of this product. That also should be decided. Okay, who are going to be the end users. Now we have to know the difference between customers and consumers also. Customers, consumers. Please don't confuse these two terms. Both of them are different from each other. Customers, the people who buy the product, consumers who actually use it. Okay, they just buy it. They just use it. How? For example, I am buying ice cream. I wish to eat ice cream. I love ice cream, so I bought ice cream. Nowadays we are not allowed to, sit in a parlor or a hotel and eat. So I have packed it and I have taken it to my home. But as soon as I reach my home, I see my nephew. My son is there and he wishes to eat ice cream. So what do? I give it to him. What? So I have bought the ice cream. But my son or my nephew wants to eat the ice cream. So he or or also focus for whom these goods produce medicines, for what ailment it is produced, for old age or for what reason that. And similarly, if you are producing baby products and all are coming, so the main focus is children of that particular age. Also it will be mentioned, if you buy baby products, it will be mentioned like ages from 4 to 7. Toys, even toys are also mentioned. So for whom are these goods produced? It even depends on the gender. Few things can be used only by men, whereas few things can be used only by women. Based on that also you have to decide. Once you have successfully answered these questions, and trust me, these answers are not stable, it differs from society to society. So then you will be able to understand the central problems of your economy. These are the basic problems, general problems. What are the? You have to decide what is produced and in what quantities they are produced. Second thing you have to answer is how the goods produced, the way it has to be produced, or the methodology or the mechanism or the technology used are discussed. For whom are these goods produced? The end product. To whom we are going to give the end product? Will it be used by everyone in the economy, or are we looking at one particular part of the society? Is what we are going to discuss. Now, what would be the from this questions? If you are answering these questions, what would be the answer? What would be the central problem of an economy? The central problems of an economy would be the allocation of scarce resources and distribution of final goods and services are the central problems. So what are the central problems here? The central problems of an economy based on the answers to these questions is allocation of resources. This even we discussed in simple economy, right? When we started the topic also we discussed that the resources have to be located properly for each thing. Allocation of resources and distribution, that is to whom it should reach. I have produced, I have located the resources, the production is over. But when will it be complete? Only when I distribute it properly. Distribution of final goods and services are the central problems of an economy. What are the central problems of an economy? The allocation of resources as well as the distribution of final goods and services are also the central problems of an economy. Right? These are the central problems of an economy. How am I going to sort it out is what we are going to study in microeconomics and as well as in macroeconomics. Right? So the next topic, production possibility frontier, is deleted from your portions for the academic year 2020-21. Right? So we are going to discuss about the organization of economic activities. Now there are two kinds of economy that we face with. Okay? We are going to discuss those two. Okay? So far we have discussed about the central problems of an economy. Now we are going to discuss how we are going to organize them. Organization of economic activities. How we are going to organize them to make them successful. To organize this, we are going to take the help of two different economies that are prevalent in our country or many other countries. Now, what are the two kinds of economy that are going to help us in organization of economic activities? Are the centrally planned economy and the market economy. First, we will be discussing the centrally planned economy. Okay? Centrally. The word centrally itself says that it has a government intervention or decisions are taken by the government. what do we mean by central planned economy? The important activities and the important decisions are undertaken or taken by the government. The government plays an important role in this sort of economy. What sort of economy is that? It is where the production, the exchange, already we discussed, right? The production, exchange and consumption of goods are called the basic economic activities. The government plays a major role in deciding about the production, exchange and consumption of goods and services. How? In production, how does it interfere? It decides what to be produced and in what quantity. Already we discussed that question. And the allocation of resources in the hands of the government. Okay, what goods should be produced more should be decided by the government. Okay, and it is the authority to achieve the goals. Okay, it talks about the allocation of resources and of course the distribution. Both is done by the government. Major role is played by the government. Okay, what are the two things that where it plays a major role? It decides, the government decides the allocation of resources to various industries or units, and then it decides about the distribution of final goods and services. It works towards the prosperity and well-being of the economy as a whole. Okay, it involves a centrally planned economy will be prevalent in services mostly like health and education. How in health and education? We'll take the example of education. We'll take the Central Board of Secondary Education, CBSE. What is that? It's maintained by the government, right? Central. It is maintained by the government, and what does it do? Does it run all the schools? No, it is privatized. There are many CBSE schools even. But the basic rules and regulations and important decisions are taken by the CBSE. Whatever CBSE says, we follow. Okay? Similarly, when we go with NCERT, they set a standard that these should be taught. These are the topics. They analyze economy or they analyze the society as a whole, and they decide that these are the important things a child should learn, and they set up the guidelines for us. Okay, so here the government plays a major role. Whatever the CBSE say, we follow that. We have our own methods of management, and we have our own methods of teaching, but still the base is set by CBSE, and it gives us the rules and regulations to be followed. Okay, not only CBSE, there are various educational boards that is governed by the government. Tamil Nadu State Education Board is there, right? So they govern it. When you take service like electricity, we get electricity from where? The electricity board. TNEB gives you the electricity all over Tamil Nadu. They are dividing the work. They are allocating different places. In every place you can find TNEB, and they give you the service. The entire authority or the decision making power lies with the government. When you take in case of telecommunication, there will be a telecommunication minister, authority. Based on them, whatever is their final decision, we come according to that. When you have a dispute, we go to. Okay, so important thing is they allocate. The government decides about the allocation of resources and the distribution of final goods and services. Okay, that two decisions, if it lies with the hands of government, then we are in a centrally planned economy. Okay, what is the one more kind of economy? It is called the market economy. Okay, it is called the market economy. Market here is not a place. Whenever we mention market in economics, we mean to say the entire process. Buying, selling, exchange process is also called market. The marketing of a product, promoting the product, we say, right? Like that. And the arrangements which allow people to buy and sell their commodities is mainly about market. Any arrangement, you have online e-markets, where the buying and selling happens even though the buyer and seller may not be face to face. It happens means it's a market. Share market, shares are bought and sold, right? Like that only it works there. Who decides that? Who decides mainly? It is about the prices, the demands of the consumers decides everything about the market economy. In market economy, when you say that the demand for a product rises, when people nowadays hand sanitizers, they have a good market. Okay, good reach. Market here means what? Good reach. They want this. It is wanted in more quantities. Many people are buying hand sanitizers, their own small hand sanitizers for their personal uses. Earlier it was not like this. Very few people had the habit of having hand sanitizers in their bags and in their pockets. Nowadays every one of us are having it. So the market, the demand for it has increased. What happens? The production also increased. Right, in the earlier time, before 2 or 3 months, when you go to a medical shop and ask for sanitizers, they say that it is not available right now. But nowadays, not only in medical shops, in any shops it is available. How? Seeing the demand of the product, the production has been increased. So the direct step can be taken by the producers, they themselves. Seeing that the price is increasing, the demand is good, so what happens? The production increases. And they are not going in for products that will, that might not be suitable for this particular time. Okay, they are not, the production of what has become less now. Everything is equally going on, but still, now if you see that demand for mobile phones have increased because everyone of us are having online classes and all these stuff, the education has been brought down to you. Not only education, even banking. You are not going down to banks or ATMs nowadays. We are just digitalizing it. We are just doing it over phone or internet or computer. So the demand for that has increased. So the production also equally increases. But after this situation, after we safely cross this pandemic situation, do you think still the sanitizers will be of demand? Do you think the production will be the same? Do you think it will be increased? No, it might not be. Because once we know that we are safe, we might not go for that. Nowadays, people are not going much to buy pet animals, because there was an information like through animals also we are getting this virus infection. So what happens? Nowadays, they are not going in for more of pets. That even is a good or a service that you can call pet animals. Okay, so what happens? The production differs. There, the sales of the dogs nowadays they don't. You cannot see many pet shops. Okay, the sales that was happening in hotels or restaurants also have become less. They are not getting ice creams, for example. Okay, ice creams we have to sit there and eat, but nowadays we are not allowed to do that. So by the time if your home is far away from the ice cream parlor, you may not go in for buying it. Okay, the home delivery system was at one time entirely curtailed by food companies or by anything. By even the online shopping has become very down now because of the delivery system. Usually on online, how do you buy? Using home delivery system. People will come to your home, deliver it and then take money, or you are paid already. But nowadays we are scared of allowing new people into our home. So the home delivery system also has declined. So at one point of time entirely this online food delivering agents and all were jobless. After that they came out with an innovative idea where we'll have a zero contact delivery. Right, where we place it far away from you, we are cleaning our hands regularly, the product is prepared without touching, and all those stuff came later on. It is innovation. They came out, they sort of understood the situation and come out. In the market economy, that happens. How does it happen? Because the producers and the sellers are both in the same market. Even the buyer, what does he do? When he knows that the product is of high demand, hereafter we might not not get that many of what to say, the mass production is getting less. We need to buy more mask. Every day I have to change my mask. Means what happens? They buy more in quantity. The quantity gets increased. So the buyers and sellers are in the same community, which is called the market economy, where immediately it is decided based on the demand for the product, the production differs, and based on that the price also differs. How it differs? How does the price differ? I am a seller. Okay, someone has come and bought biscuits from me. They said it is very tasty. First I was selling it for 20 rupees. Okay, next time when someone appreciates my product, okay, it is very nice, what I will do? Okay, I'll try to make it by 25 rupees, whether they are buying or not. Again they are buying for 25 rupees and giving me the same comment. So next time two consumers come at the same time, two customers come at the same time, and I have only one packet of biscuit. So one who offers more, 30 rupees, I will give the packet to them. So obviously my price increases. Based on this also the product's need will differ. If price increases, we may not buy it. Right, what? First day I bought for 20 rupees, today you are telling 30 rupees, I won't buy. So the economy changes, the situation entirely changes. Okay, so in a market system, the central problems regarding how much and what to produce are decided by the coordination of economic activities. Of what economic activities? Production, consumption and exchange of goods and services, and importantly they take into account about the price signals, how the price changes. So is it okay if I have only the centrally planned economy and the market economy? No. Every country needs a mixed economy, because at certain places when you take health and education, this works out. Centrally planned economy. But when you talk about day-to-day products and services, market economy only will be helpful, because it's a long chain of process. Centrally planned economy, the amount that is fixed for one product in a state in Delhi will not be the same in Tamil Nadu. It may not work. Even in milk packets, if you take the packet and see, in Tamil Nadu means one particular rate, and in the next state means it differs. Have you seen? Like that it differs. So a centrally planned economy may not work out for all products. Similarly, the market economy also may not work for all the products. So what do we need? We need an economy called a mixed economy, which is the mixture of centrally planned economy as well as the market economy, so that the people of the society are highly benefited. Okay, that is all about the organization of economic activities. How do you organize? Using these two economies, which are called as the centrally planned economy and the market economy. What are we going to discuss next? We are going to discuss about positive economics and normative economics. What are these? We know that we have different ideas, different perspectives, different mechanisms. India is known to be a country for unity in diversity. We all are diverse based on many things. Of course, in our ideas and the techniques that we follow also differ. Right? So that is what we are going to discuss in positive economics and negative economics. We know that various methods will be followed, might be followed to achieve something. Okay, if you want to reach to a destination, there may be different routes. So there may be more than one solution for a problem. Okay, there may be more than one solution for a problem, but how do you know that which is the best solution? How do you know? By comparing each and every solution, you will be able to find out which is the best solution for the particular problem. So that is what is called positive economics and normative economics. Are they same? No. But are they related? Yes. They are not same. Positive economics and normative economics are not same, but They are related with one another. How? Positive economics and normative economics. Now, what do we do in positive economic analysis? We have to analyze, right? How do we analyze here, or what do we analyze here? We will study how the different mechanisms work. Okay, we will study the functions of, or how it functions, how different mechanisms here means methods work. Okay, what are the various different mechanisms, what are the different solutions we might have to a problem will be studied in positive economics. When you talk about normative economics, you will be evaluating them, whether it is suitable for you or not. Okay, here you simply study the different mechanisms, whereas here you evaluate, you study the pros and cons, you compare and contrast and choose a desirable option. Okay, so in positive economic analysis, positive economics is a study where we study the different mechanisms, how do they all work. Okay, what are the different mechanisms and how do they work. Whereas in normative mechanism, we talk, normative economics, we talk about which is suitable for us, whether this mechanism is desirable, whether it is good or not for us. So do you think positive economics alone is enough? Can we just study that and leave it? No, you need normative economics to choose the best mechanism. So why to go for positive economics? I can go directly for normative economics. No, you can't, because without studying, without knowing what it is, you definitely cannot evaluate it. Thus, it is very essential that these two are studied appropriately. They both support one another. They are interrelated. You cannot work with only one. You need to understand and utilize both sorts of economic analysis. Okay? Positive economics studies about the functions of different mechanisms, how it works, how different mechanisms work. Here in normative economic analysis, what do? You analyze how each mechanism works. You evaluate, you discuss the pros and cons, and then you come to a conclusion whether that particular mechanism is desirable or not. Next, we are going to talk about the final topic of this chapter. Economics is divided into two branches, microeconomics and macroeconomics. Both are important, both are required. Study of both, study of micro level factors as well as study of macro level factors are also important. In microeconomics, what do? You discuss about the individual level, in a smaller level, individual economic agents will be studied. You will take a smaller concept of economics and study. The markets for each good different goods will be studied, and it will be in a smaller concept. When you talk about macroeconomics, it is understanding the total output, bigger, broader concept. Total output, aggregate production. Aggregate means what? Total again. To make it simple, in microeconomics, you will understand whether the resources are utilized by that particular individual properly, whereas you will analyze about the entire utilization of resources, whether they have been allocated properly, everything. So microeconomics will be dealing with individual economic agents in the market for different goods and services, whereas macroeconomics you will be dealing with the total output, aggregate production, aggregate labor, and how many employee opportunities have been created. It sees economics as a whole. Bigger level factors to be studied in macroeconomics and smaller level categories will be studied in microeconomics. We'll be first dealing with microeconomics and then we'll be studying macroeconomics, because it is essential for us to think from the individual point of view about a consumer behavior, about a producer behavior, about what is a competitive market for a commodity. Everything we should understand. Then we will be discussing about the output, employment and all those things. Okay, so these are the important points that is related with the introduction to the microeconomics. Today we have discussed about what is a simple economy, what are the problems, okay, what are the central problems of an economy. Then we have discussed about the centrally planned economy and the market economy. Then we discussed what is meant by normative economics and positive economics. Remember, they cannot survive without one another, they are interrelated. And finally we just saw a gist of what is microeconomics and what is macroeconomics. Microeconomics is studying about individual economic agents, it's a smaller group, whereas macroeconomics you will be talking about the total output and how the allocation of resources all over the country has been, whether it was good or not, all those things will come in macroeconomics. This will be continued with the second chapter, which deals with the consumer theory, consumer behavior, how each consumer behaves or how he or she affects the economy, how his or her behavior affects the economy. Right, children, I want you to go through chapter 1 and see if you have understood everything. Kindly read it more than once, like twice, to understand it more in a broader concept, because this is the base of what is microeconomics. You need to understand it very well so that you can proceed with the further chapters. Right, children? Thank you, and may all have a wonderful day.